What is up, everybody? Welcome to Sixers Postgame Live. Sixers get the L again tonight against the Timberwolves. 112-99. Move on to 10-5 on the season. Man, it feels like they've played 45 games in 4 days. But here we are. Tyrese Maxey looks exhausted. The offense has really struggled, and some of the defense over the last couple of games. Joining me, he is Tiago at Tiago PHL. What's up, Tiago?
Chris, we should all be thankful for something because it's Thanksgiving. And I'm thankful that the game ended before 10:30 tonight because this was a hard watch from start to finish.
Yeah.
It was not good.
Yeah, the last 2 games have been very difficult. After a marathon of a game on Tuesday night, Wednesday night, pretty much a lot of the same, but we'll get into it. Also joining us, he is Sean Bernard at Sean_Bernard1. What's up, Sean?
Yeah, this was a little more fun when we were out here after wins, fellas. This was a little bit more enjoyable when we're talking about how they beat the Celtics and all those things. But still a lot to take from tonight. Got, I guess, a little bit of a view of some guys that we otherwise wouldn't, some KJ Martin minutes at the end. So still some stuff to break down. But, yeah, not as high of spirits as I would like to be.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's jump right into a Joel Embiid-less Sixers squad tonight featuring Tyrese Maxey. Maxey finished with 16 points, 8 assists, and 3 turnovers. He shot 7 of 19 from the field. This is a night after shooting 11 of 28. So Tuesday night, 30 points on 28 shots. Tonight, he had 16 points on 19 shots. Not the efficient Maxey we're used to seeing. I thought his legs looked dead in that third quarter. And I thought he just didn't get a lot of luck, man. His shot was just not falling tonight. There was a lot of rim outs and things like that. Tiago, what would you think about Tyrese Maxey?
Yeah, I think one of the things that stand out for me right away is that Minnesota is one of the bigger teams he's ever going to face. McDaniels, Edwards, Kyle Anderson, right? They're all big wing bodies that he's got to navigate to. And then once he navigates that, he's got to deal with Rudy Gobert at the rim. So I thought that the challenge tonight was massive for Maxey to navigate, particularly because he didn't have his safety outlet in Embiid. So I think he took the challenge head on for the most part of the game. I thought that early in the game, McDaniels is one of the better wing defenders in the league. I mean, flat out. And I thought he ran at him. He got a couple on him. He got a +1. He showed the willingness to fight. I thought that in the third quarter, maybe that speaks a little bit to what you're saying, Chris, the dead legs, right? I thought he kind of just deferred at that point. And I think that, when you're on the court and Pat Bev is your second ball handler, there's no world where you're deferring to Pat Bev. There's just no world. You got to be the guy. You got to attack. You got to initiate the offense. I thought that at that point, when the game was still 10 to 12 point deficit, I thought that maybe he could have been more assertive in the game. I have my theories as to why he wasn't. I think, man, they got to start calling a better whistle on him. He gets hacked all the time.
Yeah, dude,
all the time,
dude. The whistles tonight were horrendous. In favor of the T-Wolves, I thought. And I hate calling that out, but I thought there are so many soft fouls in the direction of the Sixers from the jump, man. Sorry.
Yeah, and Sean can add to that. So go ahead, Sean. You finish that thought because I think it's ridiculous it's gotten to with Maxey.
Yeah, I think his speed works against him with the whistle, that they see how fast he attacks downhill, that they kind of just swallow it and let it play out. And he definitely doesn't have anything close to the superstar whistle that we see from some of these guys. And just frankly, in the way that he deserves, that when he gets fouled, send him to the line. It's as simple as that. And I do think they miss a lot on Maxey. I think a lot of it is because he looks small compared to these guys as well, that he kind of gets swallowed up. But that is something that has to change, that when he gets fouled, he needs to get to the line. That's how basketball should work. And that gets way too overcomplicated in the NBA sometimes. But as a whole in his game, I think we're seeing the difference in, it's one thing when you're playing off Joel Embiid and you have the MVP of the league as a guy front and center on a scouting report. It's a different story when you have to be the guy that is that engine of the offense, that is the number one scoring option. And I do think the length of Minnesota bothered him in a way that probably more than any other team possibly can. That's been I don't want to say a weakness of Maxey, it's more just kind of his physical deficiency, just being a little bit smaller of size. So it's something that he's going to have to get around. But yeah, I thought it was a growing pains game and something he's going to work through. Not something I'm overly discouraged by, but I do think these tired legs are something to keep an eye on. This guy's leading the NBA in minutes right now, which is, I get he's young, he's spry, he's energetic, but over the course of a season, that is something to pay attention to.
I do want to give him a shout out. I thought he had some more flashes on defense as well tonight, as we've seen in previous games. But like, I think Tiago tonight was like a great example of how much this Sixers team needs another creator, a shot maker, a creator for others on this roster. I mean, I think that's the take the last two games. They really need Kelly Oubre Jr. back to kind of give this roster a little more balance. But not having another guy to help Tyrese Maxey is very evident.
Chris, so you're saying that Tobias Harris is not that guy? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Yes, I am. Yes.
I am in complete agreement with you. I think that there is undeniable evidence to suggest that Maxey is taking another gigantic leap into his game. And I think that there are more boundaries to push. But I think when push comes to shove and look at the whole picture over the start of the year until now, I don't know how many people can say they trust a closing lineup of Maxey and Embiid and pick your three guys right now. I think for the most part, late in games, going back to yesterday, they haven't been reliable in closing games, and they're minus 15 clutch together, shooting less than, I think, 30%. So, yeah, to your point, having another guy who can handle the ball, who can create for Maxey, who can create for Embiid, who can take some tough shots, I think can go a long way to alleviating the pressure on the kid, man. He's the guy. It's a monumental load he's got to carry. So, yeah, I do think over the course of the year, they got to figure out what that looks like and know the answer is not Tobias Harris.
It got to the point, Tiago, and we talked about this before we went live. Like, and I hate to say this publicly, but like I was hoping the Sixers would get blown out just to give Maxey a breather in the fourth quarter because the dude looked gassed. He looked so gassed. He's top 5, I think, in the league in minutes.
Number one
in
minutes per game. Yeah, 38.7. I just checked as we went live here, right above Kevin Durant for number 1 in the league.
That's a lot.
That's wild. So let's get some comments real quick, and then we'll talk about Marcus Morris getting his first start. I guess his best game as a Sixer.
Has to be.
Anthony says the Sixers got their ass kicked. Cork Maz had a career-high 3 points. Prince says tough watch tonight. Absolutely, Prince. It's been a tough couple of post games here the last couple of nights. Prince says game was winnable too. Kudos to the Sixers. They did have some strong defensive moments where they fought, but I feel like every time the Sixers were getting momentum, the Timberwolves had an answer. It was one of those games.
One word, 2 letters. Anthony Edwards.
Yeah,
that guy has taken some massive strides in his game.
Do you remember the day when there was a rumor about or talk about Ben Simmons for Anthony Edwards?
I remember the people being afraid that he wasn't in love with basketball and talking about not taking him number 1. It's like, dude, have you seen this guy play? Like, I don't care.
The T-Wolves are not good if the Sixers actually had another center besides it. I disagree with that. I think they've got a lot of length. I think this is one of the best defensive teams in the NBA.
Yeah.
I think Naz Reid is everything we want Paul Reed to be down the road. There's some fun pieces in Minnesota.
Yeah, I think this is a good team. I think this is a team that they're going to be a very matchup-based team when it comes to the postseason, depending on who they face, but has the potential to make some noise. That I do think the top-end talent is there. I do think Anthony Edwards is a guy very capable of being a number 1 lead option on a high-caliber playoff team. Karl Anthony Towns he's finding his stride, I guess, in this fit of things, and I do think Rudy Gobert actually looks like a competent basketball player again, which he did not last year.
Yeah.
Did you guys see them run the the Towns Gobert pick and roll? That was pretty cool. They did it a couple times. I thought it was pretty awesome. Yeah.
They're doing some unique stuff.
Yeah.
That was kind of what I was alluding to. If if we're gonna get a lot of like no Embiid games, like when do we start to see some creativity? Because like Tyrese Maxey is gonna have to get a night off eventually.
Yeah.
When are we gonna get the Embiid Paul Reed lineup? Like I want to start to see some of that stuff.
And to jump in real quick, like when are we going to see Mo Bamba? What was the point of that signing? Like these back-to-back games, last night playing a team with Jared Allen and Evan Mobley in their front court, and then tonight without Joel Embiid playing a team with Rudy Gobert and Karl Anthony Towns. Why not just try him? Like at least he's big. The amount of times tonight where it ended with either Karl Anthony Towns or Rudy Gobert on Tobias Harris and Nick Batum, like that's just not going to work. I get it. Bamba's far from a perfect basketball player. I'm not arguing that it needs to be a lock for the rotation, but on a night like tonight, I don't understand why they didn't just roll him out there. Like at least he's 7 foot. He can make some sort of presence, and he honestly looked fine at the last 5 minutes. I don't want to read into that too much, but I did.
Sean he had a lot to say.
Frozen?
No, he's back.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't understand why not just run him out there tonight.
Yeah, I agree. I don't get it. Prince says game was winnable, but the officiating was too involved. I've seen enough of Pat Beverly.
Yeah. So on that point, sorry to interrupt, Chris. On that point, you got to play Jaden Springer, man. Like you got to live with the good and you got to live with the bad with Jaden Springer, man. I don't know what you see from Pat Bev that you need to play this guy 15 to 20 minutes a game. Like I get he had a good game against the Cavaliers and he kind of helped lead the comeback. Jaden Springer has to be part of your rotation. He is your most impactful point of attack defender at the moment. You're getting absolutely shredded by dribble drive penetration on a nightly basis. He is the guy that can help you alleviate some of that, but he needs to play through it, man. And you played 20-20, then he goes down to 7 minutes yesterday, and you got junk time minutes again tonight. He's shown the ability to attack a closeout from the corner. His jump shot looks actually pretty good in the couple games that he's played. So I just don't know why they're doing this Doc Rivers, Paul Reed thing all over again with Jaden Springer, man. That is just, it's driving me crazy.
And what's frustrating to me specifically about Pat Bev is, like, I get a lot of what he brings, the offensive rebound, and the rebounding is the real deal. He does a lot of little things. He's definitely lost a step defensively, but there's moments in this game or throughout every game really, where he just makes a couple like really dumb decisions with the ball, just passing into traffic or a bad turnover that just is unnecessary. And for a guy that's really trusted as like a primary ball handler on this team and a guy, a key decision maker within the offense, you just can't have that. And especially when like he is this supposed to be this veteran presence and this leadership example, there's a lot of good with Pat Bev, but those couple moments where he just kind of has those dumb turnovers, random turnovers, the Sixers just can't really afford to have that. And those are the kind of growing pains that you are okay with living with Jaden Springer. You should not be getting that with 35-year-old Patrick Beverley.
Yeah, we talk a lot about how like Batum is like everything we were hoping PJ Tucker was, with his ability to move the ball, be an amazing fit with Embiid. Yeah, he struggled with a lot of the Timberwolves' length tonight. This is probably his worst game with the Sixers, I think.
Chris, I just want to make a point on one last point on this. I watched the Bucks and the Mavs on last Saturday, I think. The Bucks were a little bit shorthanded that game. They had a rookie off the bench defending Luka Doncic, the entire game. Like, granted, the guy didn't have a lot of impact. He was up and down. But here's a guy who they noticed potential on. They're like, hey, man, we're going to give this guy a chance to show what he's got. That has to be the mindset with Springer, man. Like, that guy has that type of impact in a basketball court. So I'm hoping that they go back to that at some point this year.
Yeah, that was kind of where I was like going with, is that like PJ Tucker and Pat Bev have kind of the same vibes, like that 4-on-5 vibes that like the Sixers need to get away from that. You know, at least develop Jaden Springer going forward, because that guy is your potential stopper to, you know, give you big minutes against Halliburton or Dame or guys like that in the playoffs, and make big defensive moments.
And they picked up his option, so he's going to be worth like what, $4 million, I think, next year.
Yeah.
So he got $4 million sitting on the bench next year. Is that the plan? Like, not going to play him. So like, find out what he has, and if your plan is to flip that in a salary filler move in the future, teams will know, all right, this guy can make an impact. I can include him as I'm okay with him being part of a deal for whoever you want to go in the future. But he's got to develop. He's got to show something on the basketball court.
Mhm.
What do you say the odds are that they eventually waive Mo Bamba? Any thoughts?
I mean, I don't see a reason to keep him if like these last 2 games were really like prime time. Like this is Mo Bamba's time to shine. Let's give him an opportunity, especially tonight without Joel. I don't know. I'm not ruling it out. I believe it's a veteran's minimum contract. So I wouldn't say it's super likely, but who knows?
Bring up Turk. Oh my God.
Absolutely.
I am all for that. You got to shoot
absolutely.
threes. This guy will shoot threes.
He had 30 something tonight at the Blue Coats.
Did he?
Again. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh man, I'm all over that. I know his efficiency numbers aren't great, but like I love the fact that he can just walk on a G League court and just start jacking shots, man.
Yeah.
I love it.
Huge, man. If you stand out like that in the G League, that's a very positive sign.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So yes, Prince, I would love it. It was nice to see Shea hooping tonight. I'm thinking Pat doesn't want to be a Sixer and rejoin the league. I don't know about that. I think he likes it in Philly.
Yeah, I think he really likes it.
Yeah. Daniel says you have a decent team, but you need more for sure. And they will. You need length. We have length. They just kind of they need to get Embiid back. They need to get Oubre back. This team's not a finished product whatsoever. Luffy says trade for Siakam.
No. Don't do that.
Yeah, I mean this was one of those for Thiago, one of those Zach LaVine games for sure. Like this was a game where you could see the potential of a LaVine carrying this team in spots where they need that offensive spark, and they don't have it right now. So yeah.
And to be honest, it was a Kelly Oubre game that they're really missing Kelly Oubre. That I want to see this guy back on this roster. They need his skill set. They need his ability, his athleticism, his length. I miss Kelly Oubre, and I didn't think I'd be so passionately like feeling that way at this point in the season, but he's going to be a key role in this team, and I can't wait to get him back on the floor.
Mm-hmm. Nick says Turk bought out tonight. I didn't know that. I am absolutely watching that as soon as we end the show tonight. That's going to be fun. Bill says, what are Sixers supposed to do when Embiid is out until January? Can't rely on minimum salary play. Wait, what is going on? What? But thanks for the donation, by the way. I appreciate that. But he's not out until January. Did I miss something?
No, I think this is a hypothetical.
Okay. So yeah, I mean this was a great example of how valuable Joel Embiid is to the Sixers team in general. If Embiid is out, they're cooked. There's really no bouncing back from that.
The most valuable player in the league, some might say. So yeah. It was interesting. I'll give a little acknowledgement to like them going with Marcus Morris at the 5. I guess the mindset was to play some 5-out basketball, try and space the Timberwolves out. Clearly, it was not effective in those early minutes, especially with Morris picking up those 2 fouls in 3 minutes or whatever it was. I guess I like the mindset. I still would have rather them just gone with Paul Reed there. But I like the optionality of trying stuff. But yeah, I mean, the bottom line with this team, if Joel Embiid is not in it for the long haul, the team's toast. Like, it's as simple as that with that. So as much as we can sugarcoat it, look for ways. Joel Embiid is the best player on this team for a reason.
Yeah, on that point, Chris, sorry, at that point, I agree with Sean. The first half with Marcus Morris was kind of disaster. And you're like, why isn't Paul Reed playing? But when they got going in that third quarter, I thought that watching the game, I'm like, wow, like Marcus Morris at the 5 makes sense against specific lineup combinations defensively when you have like Rudy Gobert who doesn't step out of the 3-point line, right? So maybe that's some sort of thing they landed on that they can maybe bank on for 2 or 3 minutes against other teams. Say you're going up against the Suns, right? And the Suns have Nurkic at center. Maybe that's something you can go to for brief 2-3 minute stretches. So I don't think the entire game was a throwaway game. When I was watching that third quarter, he just created more space for Maxey to operate, got more of his playmaking going. Morris, one of the few guys in this team that actually doesn't hesitate to shoot 3-pointers.
Yeah.
So I thought that they actually may have landed on something for very small stretches this season moving forward.
That was the youngest he's looked in like 5 years, too, by the way, that stretch there. So good for him for having that in the tank. I did not think he still had that in him. So that was at least like promising to me. And I still like overall how this team competed. Like, even though the legs were tired, they still were trying to scratch and claw back notes. So I do give the Sixers credit there.
Yeah, last night's loss hurts way more than this loss.
Yeah.
I expected them to really struggle in this game. So that's my take. Bill says I meant January when trades can compete. I would just pause on that, Bill. Like, this team was 10-3. There's been injuries. There's been a horrible schedule for the Sixers, man. It's been brutal this last week. I think they've played a lot of games. So I think this is a good team. I do want to see the schedule kind of balance out a little bit. Who are your guys' picks to win the in-season tournament?
I'm picking the Michigan Wolverines. No, I'm sorry. It's an NBA. That's a good question. I'm going to go with the Pacers. Sorry, Sean.
Yeah. No, I was going to say the same thing. I think I'm stamping the Pacers. I'm very much a Tyrese Halliburton guy. This team's very fun to watch. They lost on a heartbreaker tonight. Buddy Hield couldn't come through with the last-second shot. But, yeah, this team's a ton of fun to watch. They beat the Sixers in the group stage, advanced out of Group A, so I'll rep the Pacers for this one.
In a one-game tournament, I'll take the Pacers against any team in the NBA.
Yeah. They're just going to run
the seventh game series, I'm not taking them over 75% of the teams. But in one game, like Tyrese Halliburton running around like a maniac, absolutely.
Yeah. It's nuts. What about Paul Reed at power forward and Bamba at center? We have not seen that. Of course, Paul Reed had a pretty good game overall, I think, tonight. We'll get into that once we talk about player of the game. Prince says, Miami beat Cavs 129-96. Irks me even more. Guys, don't jump off the bridge right now. The Sixers will be fine. We will be fine.
And I think Timberwolves are a better team than a lot of people are giving them credit. But I do think they're a legitimately solid NBA team, going to be in the mix in the West for sure.
Yeah.
Refs constantly an issue against Philly teams. Their next 4 games are Thunder, Pelicans, Lakers. So what a stretch. I can't wait for that Saturday matchup against the Thunder, man. That's the game. That's the game I've been waiting for. That's going to be a lot of fun. Any other takes before we get into player of the game?
No, I think that's good for me. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's roll on. Let's roll on to our player of the game. All right, player of the game for the Sixers. This is going to be tough. No, since we have 3 of us here, I'll throw it to you, Tiago. Who is your player of the game?
My player of the game is Shake Milton. Nah, he doesn't play for the Sixers anymore. He's a Timberwolves now. I'm going to go with Marcus Morris. I just think that his minutes in the third quarter were probably the best minutes the Sixers had all night.
Yeah.
Again, willing to shoot, took Rudy Gobert off the bounce a couple times.
Yeah.
Not a big fan of Marcus Morris on this team. I think that if they want to go micro ball, they can go with Cove at the 5 and play a lot of zone. But for one night, I think that he made enough of an impact to warrant being noted in the game.
All right. Marcus Morris getting a shout out. What about you, Sean?
Yeah, that would have been my first pick as well. So I like the shout there, but I'm going with Paul Reed for my pick there. That B-ball Paul out the mud to rip off his stats real quick. 10 points, 9 rebounds, 4 blocks on the night. That last one against Cat was super impressive that he got beat on a step there, managed to track him down. And there's just a couple raw moments that you see that he pulls off every time he's in the game that you're like, there's still something there worth sticking with and seeing how it develops. I wish that he started. I wish he just got that kind of boost of confidence by being in the starting lineup, but I do understand it. I still think he made his impact felt. The foul issues are still there a little bit, but I do think Paul Reed provided a positive spark tonight and that the defense continues to be as advertised for him.
Sean with B-ball. Paul, guys, let us know in the comments who your player of the game was. This one's tough. I'm going to go with my guy. I'm going to go with Robert Covington as my player of the game. I feel like if there's anything we've learned over the last week or so, he needs more playing time. He's giving you great defensive minutes. He's moving the basketball way better than I even remember him doing. So give me Robert Covington. He only had 5 points in this one, but he was a +6. He had 2 blocks. Just always seems to be in the right place. Give me Rocco for player of the game.
His hands are incredible. And I was talking about this week, just about Covington specifically, real quick, that he's definitely lost a step athletically from the first time that he was in Philadelphia. Yeah. But he's a so much like better, just all around basketball player than that point, just knowing where to be, his instincts. I do think that there's a real argument that he has the best hands in the NBA, just as far as getting in passing lanes, poking it out. That one strip on Cat was super impressive tonight. So, yeah, I love Rocco. I love what he brings to this team, and I really do think that this is going to be a key rotation piece. And that's a guy that I've taken off my like potential salary filler list. Like, I want this guy in the playoff rotation.
God, I was made fun of so much about Rocco and him on the Sixers, man. I love it.
Yeah, those lineups with Paul Reed, defensive, like there's a lot of wingspan.
Yeah.
A lot of tip balls, right? And then you throw a guy like Jaden Spring in there. So there's high potential defensively. I would like for them to play around more with Cov. He's played some minutes at the 4, gets a lot of easy looks at the rim and Embiid's playing. So I think, to Sean's point, he's actually somebody who they can actually rely on to close games in the future.
Yeah.
Bill's asking our Sixers prediction against the Thunder, Pelicans, Lakers, and Celtics. Oof. That is going to be tough.
I'm going to go with 2-2.
2-2?
Yeah.
I'll take that. I will take that against those 4 teams.
I'll go 3-1. I'm feeling optimistic. I do think they beat the Thunder. That I think after these back-to-back losses, they come in focused on Saturday. It's a little bit of a wake-up call and statement game. That team is no joke by any means, so they have to take it that way for them to get the win. I think they're capable of beating the Pelicans. Things just don't look like they're fully clicking down in New Orleans just yet. A lot of talent there, but the pieces don't seem like they're quite fitting together just yet. Lakers, Celtics, I think they split 1-1 there. Not sure which way I'm leaning with that. So I'll go 3-1. I'm feeling optimistic.
Love it. All right. Let's get into our grades for tonight. Don't you hear me? Sweetness and light for my restless smile. Please give me a way to escape this world gone astray. You could give me a little peace of mind in these troubles. Team grades. Thiago, how would you grade tonight's performance?
I mean, Chris, I'm going to read what the Timberwolves did this month. They beat the Nuggets by 21. They beat the Celtics. They beat the Pelicans. Beat the Warriors twice. Beat the Knicks by 17. Sixers lost by, 13 points? I'm giving them a B-, to be honest. I think it wasn't nearly as bad as folks are going to make it. The Timberwolves are pretty tough out, at least so far this year.
All right. I love it. Some positivity. What about you, Sean?
I'll go C. I was more upset over last night's loss than tonight's for sure. That this wasn't one I expected them to win. It pretty much went as I expected, to be honest. That I saw the scrap that I wanted to see. This is a tough Timberwolves team. That I'll give them credit. That like they're going to be a tough team on a night-to-night basis, regardless of who they're playing. So I feel okay about how the Sixers performed. A couple positive moments. I'm going to brush this off for tired legs in the back end of a back-to-back.
Chris is thinking way too much.
Yeah, you're way more in tune with the Timberwolves and teams like that. Like this is my first game watching the Timberwolves, so yeah, maybe they are better than I perceived them to be. Honestly, I didn't know they were that great of a defensive team. I was hoping to see a little more from Maxey. I mean, this was a clear schedule loss. They did fight at times defensively. I'm leaning more towards Sean's side. I'm more C-ish. I'll just play politician and say C+. We'll just play in the middle. Any other? Let's just wrap it up. We're already 30 minutes into this thing talking about a Sixers loss. Tiago, final thoughts, plugs.
You can find me at Tiago PHL on Twitter X. And yeah, final thoughts is keep the positivity going. This is a rough stretch here in Thanksgiving, but big picture, I think they are trending towards a top level Eastern Conference team. I think there's much evidence this year to suggest that they're going to be a much tougher out they've been in the past. But yeah, just got to weather the storm here. And I think by next week we'll have some better takes for the team as a whole.
Exactly. We still need more data. Like players need to come back healthy.
Yep.
The schedule needs to balance itself out as well. So guys, it's been funny. It's been a funny season so far. Like the Sixers started out the gate so hot, and then they lost one game to the Celtics after beating them the first time, and people are already jumping off bridges and freaking out. Yeah, they've had a couple tough games here, but the Sixers will be fine. Sean, final thoughts on this one, plugs.
Yeah, everybody take a couple deep breaths that they're still 10-5, still looking fine. Big picture, everything's still in decent shape. So I'm excited for Saturday. That is a matchup that I will very much be looking forward to. That Thunder team is so fun to watch and a ton of players that are super entertaining. So excited to tune in for that one. Outside of that, you can follow me on Twitter at Sean_Bernard1. You can hear me on the Fox Sports The Gambler airwaves at 1025 in Philadelphia or on the iHeartMedia app, as well as check out Pick Swap Media and Sixers Digest on YouTube for all my content over there.
That's it?
Yeah, to be on ABC and ESPN and Sports Center and NBA TV.
Very soon. Best Sixers Twitter follows right there at Tiago PHL, at Sean_Bernard1. Thank you everyone for watching.
One more plug, Chris. One more plug because just came through my Twitter screen. If you want to see something really funny, go on Timberwolves Brazil account and see some of the stuff they posted on the game afterwards. It's just funny.
Timberwolves Brazil?
Yeah, they got an account. They're posting all types of stuff out there. So one more plug.
Oh, man. I can't wait. All right, so Timberwolves Brazil and Turk highlights from tonight. Add it to the list. All right. Thank you, everyone, for watching.
Wild.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah.
All right. I'm excited. All right, guys. Thank you, everyone, for watching. For Tiago, for Sean, for myself. We'll see you on Saturday. Stay awesome, everyone.